knowledge of young learners and principles of teaching English to young learners. What we are going to cover here? Children's characteristics as a language learners. So what are their characteristics? Developing children's language learning strategies through language learning. So what strategies we are going to work with our children? Developing children's cognitive strategies through language learning. How we are going to help our students to explore their cognitive part, the right, the left brain, and how we're going to motivate through the cognitive area. Then developing children's communication strategies through language learning. So we are going to teach our students communicative skills, right? How to organize ideas, how to use, for example, collocations, how they combine words, parts of the speech. But everything is inductively, remember, because they are kids. Okay, let's see. We are going to have a practice here. Aha. Let's see. We have one exercise. For question 1 to 6, match the teacher's comments on her approach to learning with the young learner's needs and characteristics. So we have here the characteristics, and here we have the teacher's opinions. What we need to do is to match letter and number. Okay? Milagros mentioned something important, that we need to have a B1 level. So what does it mean B1? It means an intermediate level. Why? Because we are going to read a lot. The skill that we are going to work here, it's a lot of reading. We need to read and use all the strategies that we develop through our career. Focus on keywords, focus on key ideas, focus on understanding things. So this is the moment to prove if you are a good reader or not. Okay, let's work on this. Let's see. It says routines in the classroom. What could be the correct number here?
4.
Which one? What number? For letter A, what number is the perfect one?
I think it's number 4.
Number 4. At the start of the lesson, 2 pupils give. Okay, very good. So 4, very good. What about personalized feedback on their language? There is one extra option, that maybe sometimes is.
In my opinion, is number 5.
We often do visualization. Questions about story, who is, not really.
It possibly be number 2.
Not really. Why? Because letter B is the extra one. So there is no answer for letter B. Remember, always you are going to have one extra idea. So what is important here? First, to read the possibilities and try to use your predictions skills. Then on, you try to match and discover if there is one idea that doesn't match with the alternatives, right? What about letter C? Opportunities to respond to and use language creatively. Somebody mentioned with letter B.
Yes, it's number 5.
Exactly. Chance to have fun as a whole class.
Number 3.
Exactly. Help with underlying language patterns. Language patterns.
I think it's number 2.
Exactly. Number 2. Physical movement activity.
Six.
6. Are you sure?
It's number 1.
It's number 1. Why?
Yes.
Because there are some keywords. For example, doing and physical movement. Yes, it's something we need to find out. One keyword that will help us to find the correct answer. Enough time to complete the work? 6. You see? And this is the correct idea. 1F, 2E, 3D, 4A, 5C, 6G. Okay. How do you feel? Is that difficult? Easy?
It's
Complicated?
interesting and funny. It's like a play.
Yeah, it's something like a game, right? This is a methodology that we like to use in our classes, right? Then we have part 2, lesson planning and preparing young learners' lessons. We have lesson planning components, headings, providing support and challenge, selecting and adapting supplementary material. That is quite important. For example, here, let's choose alternatives. I often use action rhymes with the class because help the children to associate words with the meanings. A, B, or C?
It's B.
It's exactly B. The movement, right? And how do you recognize that it's movement? What is the key word, the key idea?
Action.
Yes, action. Yeah, action, right. What about 2? I find computer games where children put sentences in the right order to make a story can be useful because children get. Sorry, letter B was here. Letter B is from here too. I find computer games. As soon as your students finish computer games, what happens?
Letter A, immediate feedback.
Right. They have immediate feedback, right? Because they give them the correct answers. Very good. Making origami animals in class particularly useful for practicing.
Following instructions.
Following instructions. Excellent. You see? Are things that we have in our lessons. But sometimes when we think and say, aha, this was the name of this activity that I work here, right? So this is the correct answer. Now, part 3, teaching young learners. Here we are going to work what? Scaffolding children's understanding of language and use language through teacher language strategies. Using practice activities, managing young learners in class. So classroom management is quite important, right? So here we have an activity. We need to match these letters and these numbers. Remember, there is one extra option. Always we have extra options. Brainstorming. What could be the correct number for brainstorming? Remember that brainstorming is to organize a list of ideas, right? So according to this, it's number 4. Why? Because it says the teacher tells the children they are going to travel in a spaceship to another planet. In groups, they make a list of things they want to take with them. So they are going to brainstorm ideas, right? What about information gap?
Number 6. Could be.
Number 6, the teacher asks children serious questions about an imaginary day. No. Remember that when we have information gap, it means that it's kind of a communicative activity. And one student has to ask to the other about information that I don't have. And it's kind of switching information.
It's number 5, yes?
Exactly. Number 5. Now visualization. That's the number that somebody mentioned.
6.
6. Very good. What about guessing?
One.
Children choose their eyes while the teacher moves. Not really. So guessing is the extra idea. What about letter E, memory activity? That's number 1. Because it says, then say which one is missing. You see, they close their eyes, right? They try to remember, and then they say what they remember. So that's why it's a memory activity. Role play is very easy.
3.
3, exactly. And drilling, or drill. Number
2.
2. Yes, you see? So this is the correct, those are the correct alternatives we have here. Okay, great. And finally, we have assessing young learners through classroom-based assessment. So here's a lot of assessment. We're not going to do this activity because, well, we don't have too much time. So always you will work alternatives, right? Possibilities. So what is important here? To read the instructions. What do we have to do? And according to this, we are going to work on the different alternatives. Then we have TKT Core. It's a little more demanding, Module 1 for TKT Core. We are going to work language and background to language learning and teaching. And they have 3 moments in Module 1 that are really demanding in refreshing what we have learned while we were learning the language. Describing language, for example, grammar, lexis, phonology, functions, reading. In part 2, we have background to knowledge. We have what is motivation, exposure, the role of error, L1, L2, so Spanish, English, right? The students' needs. Then we have the background to language teaching, presentation techniques, assessment, practice activities. So in Module 1, we have everything connected with language. We need to kind of remember when we talk about grammar, antonyms, synonyms, collocations. What is lexis? Vocabulary, right? Compound words, phonology, pronunciation. We need to kind of practice and reinforce our, description of phonology, functions of the language, expressions that we need to work. So it's a little more demanding than TKT core in module 1. We have one exercise here. Let's see, and let's discover. For example, I want you to write a list of 10 things. Which list? What about list? What is list? Conjunction, preposition, noun, adverb, pronoun, verb, or adjective?
Noun.
It's a noun. Very good. Of 10 things which you like. What about you? It's a pronoun. Do eat carefully. What about carefully?
Adverb.
Adverb.
Adverb. But don't talk to me or your sister. Ask me about. Ask
Verb.
verb about any difficult words. What about difficult?
Adjective.
Adjective. When you have finished, you can watch television. When?
Action.
Conjunction. Okay, so here in that first part, we analyze the language, right? These are the answers. In module 2, lesson planning and using resources of language teaching. Here we have 2 parts. Planning and preparing lessons according to international standards, not according to Minedu maybe, but there are international standards that we need to manage. Whenever we travel to another country, we know how they work and how they focus, for example, the presentation, the practice, and the production. Selecting plans, choosing assessments, selecting and use of resources, what kind of resources we need, consulting reference resources, maybe dictionaries, magazines, web pages, course books, what kind of course book we need to choose for according to the level of our students, according to their multiple intelligence, abilities, teaching aids as well. And here we have this. Okay, so different kinds of assessment during the class. Well, we don't have too much time, so I'm going to show you this. For example, we are going to focus on number 1. Use the notes to make complete sentences. Put the verb into the correct forms. Letter D says to check grammatical knowledge. So what is necessary here is just to read a lot. We are going to give you some pages of the book. So when you come to class, you are going to bring previous knowledge. We are going to work like flip teaching, right? You are going to read at home, and when you come to the class, you will have that previous knowledge that we need in order to work lots of practice. And well, we're going to work theory, but something very brief in order to practice, okay? And then we have module 3, that is managing the teaching and learning process. Here we have 2 parts, teachers and learners language in the classroom and classroom management, the roles and everything here. We have one exercise. Says, in a class of primary children of 9-10-year-old age, the learners are finishing a pair word task. The teacher wants to check the answer with the class. What is the correct answer according to your experience? What's the answer to number 1? Hands up, please. Can any of you possibly tell me what thing might be the answer for the first question? Answer? What is the correct alternative here? If you want to check the correct answer, what is the correct letter? A. Very good. What about number 2? In the class of teenagers in their 2nd year of English, the teacher has just presented a new grammatical structure and wants to check that the learners understand the meaning. So you are checking instructions, right? Or you are checking concept. That's something important. Here we are checking concept. Does everyone understand? Who can give me an example sentence? Please explain the meaning. What is the correct? You want to check understanding of the meaning.
Letter A, okay.
That's it. No.
Letter C,
Please explain. No, really? It's letter B. Why is letter B? Because it's to check that the learners understand the meaning. If you say, does everyone understand? No, yes, and that's it. Or please explain the meaning, they are going to start explaining in Spanish. But if you say, okay, who can give me an example? If they give you the example, they will choose, according to their level, the best alternative for you. And you will get the idea, and you will prove if they really understand or not the task. Okay? So this is the best way to check. If you are, do you understand? Yes, no. Oh, can you explain me? Okay, miss, eso se dice, eso se hace, and they will start speaking in Spanish. And that's not the purpose, right? A group of businessmen are doing a discussion activity. The teacher notices a learner has made a mistake and says, that's wrong. A bad answer. Is that quite right? What could be the alternative?
Letter C.
Exactly. You are not able to be rude, right? So imagine, that's wrong. No, we don't do that. In a class of adult learners of mixed levels, the teacher is giving the first instruction for a complex group activity. You all know what to do. You can start. First, get into groups you were in yesterday. Here's the handout for the activity. You can start. What could be the correct alternative?
B.
Exactly, B. Because we as teachers, we need to have an order. That's why, okay, students, first get into groups. And then you continue explaining what's going to happen, right? What about number 5? The teacher is telling a story to a class of very young primary learners who have only been learning English for 1 month. Here's a little boy. Look, one day. This is a story about a little boy who used to live in a city. Stories are very important for you. They will help you learn new grammar. So how you start telling your students a story? A, B, or C?
Letter A.
Exactly. Yes, you can start, or you can start, once upon a time, there was a boy, right? Okay. How do you feel? Do you think it's complicated?
Not really.
Not really. What we need is to read in detail, right? Is to read and to check some keywords that will help us to find the answers. Okay, these are the answers. And now questions and answers. Any question connected with the exams? We have TKT Core, where you have 3 modules, and TKT Young Learners, that is only 1 module. 120 minutes, 80 questions. 4 bands, right? The perfect ones are band 3 and band 4. Where you can take the exams? Any place that is certified by Cambridge. But we have a partnership with Senati, just in case you want to have a discount, a better price, because the prices in Senati are less than the others branches, right?